What is going on, everyone? Welcome to another video from Blade Show 2022. Today we have Connor Toor of Toor Knives, the man.
Yeah, thanks for having
me. The
me.
myth.
Don't say legend.
He's legendary, and he's here with us, baby.
Yeah.
Connor, thank you so much for taking the time.
Absolutely.
Impromptu.
Yeah.
That was really cool. You come over here.
Last minute, kind of, we're on our way out today, so.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I'm also on my way out later this afternoon.
Catching a flight back to San Diego.
Fantastic.
That's it. 2022 Blade Show, it's a wrap.
You know, short and sweet.
Yep.
That's kind of the way to do it. If you stay until Sunday, you'll start seeing the zombies walking around. It gets weird.
One day for me, man. I'm tired. I'm ready to go home.
Dude, Thursday night, I was exhausted. I looked over at Doug. He's like, dude, wake up. It's day 0. And I was like, you're right.
We haven't even started yet.
Yeah, we just set up. I was like, and it's just a pop-up. He's like, chill out.
Yeah.
So,
but it's been good, right?
It's been really fun.
Yeah.
Really, really good. A lot of cool releases. A lot of cool people.
A lot of good stuff.
A lot of good stuff here.
Yeah.
Connor, hopping into it, what's your favorite thing you've seen this week?
Oh, I don't know, man. I was hanging out with Tim Reeve yesterday, and they just launched their 2 new fixed blades.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and say that.
I like the backpacker.
That's a good knife.
Yeah.
I saw that knife probably 4 or 5 months ago.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's pretty cool to see it finally. I mean, taking orders today.
Oh, yeah.
For their dealers, so
yes,
I was
and
pretty excited about
I believe the ones that we're going to get on order are going to be in MagnaCut.
Yes,
which is obviously the hotness.
Their first production batch is MagnaCut.
Yeah, it's gonna be sweet.
So they've got an S45 model here.
Yes,
I think so.
And you know, honestly, I think they perform really similarly. I think this is a tangent. You mind have a tangent?
Yeah, go ahead. Let's do it.
I think S45 kind of got snubbed a bit this year because it came out. And then MagnaCut came out right afterwards, and it kind of missed its day in the sun.
I arguably think that MagnaCut is probably one of the better steels for fixed blades.
I agree.
Yeah.
Because you're getting that chromium out of the carbides, you're getting a little bit more toughness.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. I would love to see this in get this rebladed in MagnaCut. I think that would be really cool. But my S45, it works just fine.
S45 versus S30 or S35 is unbelievably different.
Yes.
I mean, the performance is insane.
And it gets trivialized because you see YouTubers or whoever is like, S30V, it's pretty much like S35. S35, well, it's just like it's pretty much like S45, you know?
Yeah.
And it's not that simple.
Well, it comes down to heat treat too.
Absolutely.
Down to heat treat. That's
absolutely.
A big one.
You got to find someone out there that can actually put a little heat treat on that thing and get it where it needs to go.
Yeah.
Connor, you have an interesting background. I'm sure a lot of people are aware, but for those who aren't, could you just kind of give us a brief synopsis of what's going on?
So, actually, Toor Knives is a true backyard company.
Love that.
2014, maybe, started making knives in my backyard. I built a forge out of Home Depot brick and mortar. I cast a concrete fire pot, the whole thing, and I used a blow dryer to force air into my forge.
That's awesome.
First knife was Home Depot steel, and I melted it in half. So the forge was hot, but that was my first knife making experience, was melting a knife in half. But from there, basically would make a knife every week, and I would give it to a buddy who was in the Marine Corps with me. And, you know, one thing would lead to another, and he would talk to his buddy, and then I'd get another order, and that's how I started to fund this. I wouldn't even call it a company at this point, but it was kind of like a paid hobby.
Sure.
So
did it support your knife hobby at the time?
Yeah, I was still in the Marine Corps, so I was not. It was not a job for me. It was kind of a weekend deal, and I enjoyed it. You know, it kind of was like a meditative thing for me on the weekends.
Absolutely.
But I would make these knives, and I'd put cool handles on them, and people would get excited, especially in the Marine Corps, because anywhere in the military, you're issued that standard color or everyone's matching.
Yeah.
And that knife is at 1 degree of separation for everyone, and they could have like a cool handle on it sticking above their mags or whatever. So it picked up a lot of speed initially, and that's how we got started.
Okay.
It wasn't really until 2016 I had done a little bit of a deal to get a U-Haul unit, and I had my first shop. So I had like 1 outlet in a U-Haul unit.
Heck yes.
And I was running 2 grinders, a drill press, some heat treat equipment, all off of one outlet.
Just a crazy power strip situation?
Yeah, oh yeah. I don't know if that would have been approved by like the fire marshal at all, but that's how we ran. I mean, it was like 7 blades a week. You know, 1 blade a day and all handmade. And that's how I really learned the knife making process. You know, how to grind was the biggest thing. And still to this day, I'm in the shop grinding.
That's cool.
And it's because it's such a key component in knife making. Even with all the technology, all the CNC machines, everything, you still got to be able to grind. So
100%.
I was a knife maker before I was a knife company owner.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I kind of grew it pretty relatively big, I guess, until about 2019. In 2019, I deployed to Afghanistan. And we kind of put the company on hiatus.
Sure.
But I was still over there drawing and developing. And I remember there being one situation where I got a call from my shop manager, and he says, "Connor, we're out of steel. We don't know what to do." And it was funny. It's like the most ironic story, and I tell the story because it's kind of the true heart of Toor Knives. And I was literally putting on my plate carrier to go out on a patrol, and I'm dealing with my rep from Admiral Steel to try and order some more CPM S35 to get to these guys in San Diego. But that's how it was. It was always kind of like shooting from the hip until, you know, after 2019 when I got home and we really started growing the process.
So how does your background in the Marine Corps kind of influence your knife designs?
Well, I think when I first started getting into knives, there was a lot of fixed blades on the market that were really, really overbuilt, large tactical knives that were not necessarily post 9/11 developed. They were kind of Desert Storm era, big blades. And what we all wanted was something that took a little bit less real estate on your gear. So at that time, there was a knife that got released by Benchmade, the Sock P.
Yeah.
And a lot of the Special Forces guys were getting into ringed knife fighting. So really our first ring knife was called the Vandal, and it took off because it was a traditional blade shape. And it had a ring, and these guys could tuck it behind their gear, but it still had the mass of a big blade.
Yes.
So that's kind of what gave us a little bit of a name. And from there, it really, to that premise, was to continue developing blades that were actually being used out on patrols or missions. And it's funny now, to this day, where our shop is in El Cajon, California, we'll have police officers always run into the showroom, or last week we had one of our employees get pulled over by a police officer. And on multiple occasions, these police officers will be like, "Oh, you have a Toor Knife shirt. I've got a Thor's hammer," or "I've got a Serpent."
That's cool.
Yeah, so it's there's a little bit of gratification in being able to gear these guys out with good blades and know that they're actually using it as like a preferred blade.
Oh yeah, and being so close to that world and still being tapped in, I would assume you get a little bit more direct feedback. I would assume, you know, people might not hold punches as much, because they may know you or know of you. It
was funny when I was in Afghanistan. I was on a base called Bagram, and I had my name tapes on, and I was kind of walking around, and I would see Toor blades on guys over there, and I'd kind of turn the other way because I was like bashful about it. But now that I think about it, it's pretty humbling to know that a lot of companies claim that their blades are being used, but we've actually seen it. And what we're doing in its place to continue that is we also give back to a lot of these guys as well, whether it's donating product to the local SWAT team in San Diego.
Nice.
But it's important to us. And getting back to your question about how we started developing for the military and what my influence was, it was just having our ear to the ground a little bit on what these guys actually want. Yeah. Because we were those guys. Oh yeah. We have, I don't know, 15 veterans who work for the company right now.
That's pretty amazing. Yeah. That is really amazing. So getting started, who were some of your big inspirations?
Oh man, a lot of people. Let's start with Spartan Knives, Chris Reeves Knives. Man, I Bill Harsey, big time.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like I was a big Winkler guy.
Oh yeah.
But I was never really a knife guy. I never really got into knives until I started making them. So I was a maker before an enthusiast.
Would you say that when you were making at the very beginning, was it more out of necessity then?
Yes.
Yeah. And I think maybe that even has an impact on how you design knives.
Right.
You know?
100%, because all we wanted was something that would fit on our gear. You know, that's it. Like a knife can only go in so many different directions. And the geometry can only be so different. We just wanted something that fit on our gear. And more importantly, we wanted something that had a small sheath. So it actually started with the sheath.
Really?
How do we develop something that's got a small sheath? Because that's what's taking up all the room on your gear. So
that's really cool. And, you know, not being a huge knife guy at the beginning, knife nerd like someone like us, you probably weren't thinking, oh, I need to make a knife around Magnica. I need to make a knife around M398 or whatever the brand new bowler steel is, you know?
The first knife was Home Depot mild steel.
Yeah, exactly.
But
one-time use.
Yeah, it was 1095.
Okay.
1095.
Okay.
Easy to forge, easy to grind. It was 1095. The first, man, if they're still out there, the first, let's say 50 knives are 1095.
That's really cool. Do you have any of those still around?
I have the first one.
Okay, that's good.
You know what's funny is last, or maybe 2 weeks ago, one of the first ones came back for a little bit of maintenance.
That's awesome.
And I went on my Facebook and I pulled up a picture that I had taken in the U-Haul of this blade, and I was like, okay, finally we're starting to see these things.
That's really cool.
But it's tip's still good, the edge was still good. I'm like, hand forging 1095 still works. I guess.
It doesn't get enough love, man.
Yeah.
Everyone's concerned about the next thing, the next handle material, this, that, and the other. It's like, you know, we kind of lost a little bit of the way, I feel like.
I think it's great steel, and I think a lot of the steels today, depending on what you're looking for, pocket knives, you can go a couple different directions with the super steels.
Oh, yeah.
Man, you ask anyone in this game who knows me, they'll say that I love CPM 154.
Yeah.
I love CPM 154, and I love CPM S35. 3V, CPM 3V is great for tactical knives.
Yes, it is.
As long as it's coated.
Yeah.
So
it doesn't have that resistance, that corrosion resistance, but
so those are like my 3 go-tos right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what is something? I guess you really just covered it there. I was going to ask you what's a steel or a technique or a handle material you think is underrated. So are you going with CPM 154 or something like that?
I'm going to say that the underrated steel, and people are going to hate this, but it's CPM 154.
Yeah.
We took it out 2 months ago to a ranch in Alabama, and I dressed 6 deer with the same knife without sharpening it. So, I mean, I'll go to bat because it comes down to the end consumer and how they can treat their blade and resharpen it. And you want something that these guys can actually take care of.
Oh, yeah.
If we have a hard time in the shop sharpening super steels, then the average consumer on a stone is going to have a hard time too. So we take that 100%. Into account.
Especially when you're making it for end users that might end up overseas.
Right, yeah.
They won't have access to walking into a knife store and getting it ground out, you know.
Which is, I'm going to give a shout out here, Worksharp.
Oh, yeah.
Worksharp. I was teaching how to use their Workshop, the little field sharpener.
Yeah.
I was teaching that when I was overseas.
That's awesome.
Perfect.
Those guys are great.
Yeah.
Have you gone over and talked to them today?
I haven't talked to them yet.
Oh, yeah.
We've been running around all yesterday.
Shout out Kyle.
Yeah.
Kyle's my guy over Worksharp.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is, if you can't sharpen it on something like that, or even something more rudimentary than that, you're going to be kind of SOL. Yeah, I would assume, you know?
Or send your blade back. You know, like for us, send your blade back. And we've had plenty of instances where we've gotten blades back where they've been sent to professional sharpeners.
Yeah, I see that a lot.
And it's not good.
Yeah.
So we always just say, like, hey, if you're worried about it, send it back. We'll turn it around within 2 weeks, and we'll get it right back out to you.
The professional sharpener, how did he ruin the coating on the top of the blade?
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
like
why
all
is
the way
the bevel
up.
ground off?
Yeah.
You know, that's a big one right there. Is
professional.
Like, now we're redressing the whole blade. And, but we'll always take the blades back because we're realistic about that.
Sure.
Right? The end user, a SWAT officer or someone out in the field might not know how to sharpen S35.
Yeah.
He can get a working edge on it, but when he wants to really give it the spa treatment, we'll do that for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Connor, what's another EDC item, gear item that you geek out on outside of the knives?
Ooh, man. Wallets.
Really?
Wallets.
Okay.
I actually, I work really closely with a company called Haley Strategic Partners.
Travis?
Travis, yeah. And me and him just designed a wallet together because they're big on the nylon game. They make the tactical gear. But we just designed a wallet together with a G10 push dagger inside of it.
Hell yes.
I've always thought like wallets are, it's not extra EDC, it's something you already carry.
It's a necessity.
Yeah, I carry a titanium ridge wallet.
Okay.
So And the new one that we designed with Haley Strategic is full nylon with elastic straps, so you can put a sheath in there.
That's sweet.
For your push dagger. Yeah, it's a cool
That's
cool little,
really cool. So it's going to be great for like kind of non-compliant environments and whatnot.
Yeah, that was the premise behind designing this with Travis is something that's minimal, but a one-time use if you need to pull a push dagger and use it for self-defense is. We want a clean way of holding this tool.
Yeah.
And not adding to your EDC, right?
Keeping it light, too.
Keeping it light, yeah.
And I would assume relatively thin, too.
It is thin, yeah.
That's really cool. I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, it's on their website right now. We're going to be launching it pretty soon.
Okay.
It's actually it's a really cool product for the officers out there, too, because it's got a badge slip, so you can flash the badge. So.
Yeah, see... Because I mean, obviously, a lot of the product has that sort of mill or LE end user in mind.
Right.
That's really, really cool.
Well, I mean, more recently too, we've as I've transitioned out of the military, it's been the outdoor community.
Yeah.
Which is an interest of mine, and that's why we've been launching all of our outdoor blades.
I've been loving like the Field 2.0. I love that knife.
That's the knife that we dress those 6-deer with.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, that's sweet.
It's a big blade, but it's still user friendly. So.
I like the coatings you guys are doing on that, and I really like the handle materials.
Yep.
They're subtle. Like you got to get them in the light, and you're like, oh, this actually has some cool shit going on, you know?
Right. Yeah. So we recently partnered with Bob Taylor from Taylor Guitars on
That's so cool.
Ebony.
That's so cool.
From West Africa. So a lot of the wood that we're going to start seeing for Toor products is going to be ebony handled wood.
From Taylor?
From Taylor, yeah.
That's really, really cool.
Yeah.
So, this is a question I like to ask people.
Okay.
Because it gets you thinking a little bit. If you could only carry 3 knives, or only own 3 knives, and you had to do everything with it, I'm talking when you're out there doing your bushcraft stuff, when you're cutting food, you're doing food prep, and you're opening mail at work, what would they be?
Do they have to be mine?
No, you can do whatever you want.
Well, I would carry a Toor Knives Field 2.
Okay.
But a pocket knife, I would carry a Sebenza 31.
Yeah.
Just the matte sandblast finish.
Mm-hmm.
And I would carry an axe, and I would probably carry a Winkler axe.
That's fantastic.
Does that count as a knife?
Of course.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
It's got a blade, it's got a handle.
Yeah, those would be my 3.
I like that. That's a unique one.
Yep.
Connor, do you have anything else you want to tell the people out there?
I don't think so, man. I think if we keep going, it's going to be a long interview here.
You're going to get coffee ordered here. Like, you can go grab us something.
Go ahead and order Uber Eats for us. Shout out Uber.
Yeah, shout out Uber, guys. Hey, thank you, man. Connor, thank you so much for taking the time.
Absolutely.
It's really great to meet you. We've been loving your guys' product for a long time, but I've never got the chance to meet you.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for the support.
Absolutely, brother. Guys, thank you so much for sticking around. Stick around for even more Blade Show 2022 content in the near future. Guys, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thanks, man.